Everybody
should have stock investor written in their bio.
Right.
Like literally everybody should, because you literally cannot always work for your money.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's like even your blue collar forklift, like they have access to a 401k most of the time and should be investing in the stock market.
They probably don't know it. Like they don't know it. A lot of people don't know that 401k means that you're investing in the stock market. But that's why we have the Melanin Money Show.
Right. They think it's, I got a pension, or I don't know, or I see 3% being taken out I don't know what it's for. I thought it was an extra tax. I just roll with it. Who knows? But hey, listen, we're here to rescue your retirement, right? And that's what we're here for. And now let's move on to the next one. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show. You already know the vibes. Jacqueline, Carter, how are y'all feeling today?
I'm feeling amazing.
I'm blessed to be in the room with you guys, not in a virtual room. We gotta get in the room again soon. But I'm feeling great, man. First week in a new country. Just really getting used to it. And I just had an epiphany, like, yo, living in another country is just like living in a different state. It's like, it's not that much different. I mean, that
is true though, because not like you see your friends every day. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
you just make new friends.
You just make new friends. And like, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I literally land, like, on the plane ride here. I was like, do I really gotta move there? I can just visit for a couple weeks and go back home. I don't gotta live in another country, bro. Cause I ain't had no friends. So I landed like 5:00 at 2. By 7:00, I had met two homies, actually at the event, George, one of your homegirls put me on. So I was living out here. By Sunday, I was out with 14 people and I was like, we're good. We're good. So it's just, for anybody who's scared about taking the steps to move somewhere else, just do it, man.
Wait, so you went no friends? You went solo dolo?
I knew nobody on the plane. I mean, I had been out here before, but the people who I met last year when I was here, they didn't live here anymore. So I was going out solo dolo.
Wow.
Solo.
Yeah.
Wow. I did all those solo trips last year. I did like 18 of them. And I feel like you learn a lot about yourself doing solo trips.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you want to get to know you, the two best things you do to get to know you: start a business or travel internationally alone. You'll get to know yourself real fast.
Ladies, it's not the funnest thing to travel internationally alone, but you definitely will learn yourself. Safety first, but it's a big learning curve. So
the true root of all disease is being disconnected from oneself. Right? Most people, they don't know themselves. They're not self-aware. And that's what's causing the dis-ease, right? Like, you have to be able to sit with your own thoughts, because oftentimes people have to be around people, right? Or hang out all the time, or go places with friends because they don't want to sit with their own thoughts, right? That's half the battle, right? So if you can do that, like Carter said, it will reveal a lot about yourself. So guys, it's still pretty early in the year. And, we were thinking, how can we provide some insight that our listeners can use to really help, level up their goals in 2023, right? And sometimes it's literally sitting right in front of you. I wish I had this stat in front of me, but I don't have it in front of me. But there's a stat around how much retirement money gets forgotten and left behind. And maybe at some point, one of my gracious co-hosts here, can Google that stat for me. But how much retirement money gets left behind, right? People just forget about it. They leave it at their old employer, whatever the case may be.
Man.
And so we want to rescue those retirement dollars, right? We want to show you how you can leverage your retirement money today, right? Literally in real time, and not have to wait till retirement to leverage your retirement funds. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
I think it's a good topic, and I'm still a little bit amazed, and I love you, dear clients, if you're listening to this, but I've had several clients who come to me and they're like, I have a zero net worth or negative. I have all this debt or whatever. And then we kind of do some digging. And a lot of times I find an old 401k that has at least 5 figures in it, sometimes 6. And all of a sudden their net worth goes from 0 or negative to positive or 6 figures, or one woman, even 7 figures. So
wow,
it's crazy to think about how much money gets left behind. And let's really quickly define like what left behind really means. And to me, what left behind means is you literally forgot this money at your old employer. And the reason why it's forgotten or left is because your employer is in charge of that money now. Like they make all the decisions for that. And if you don't know what's going on at that company, how are you going to be involved in what's going on with your money? So that's what we're talking about when we mean left behind.
Yes.
You came up with the stat, Carter?
I got the stats. So Americans have, as of 2020, Americans have accumulated $6.7 trillion in 401k accounts, and on average, about $1.35 trillion in assets are left behind when they change employers. So say about 20% or so. About 20%.
Can you text that in the group chat, by the way?
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
So, and not only that, y'all, so like what the stat also says is that like it takes a financial advisor to remind the people that they left the money behind, right? So if these people don't have a financial advisor or somebody looking over their finances, this money could be like lost and forgotten forever. Because here's what happens when you leave your employer, and your employer, let's say, had Fidelity or whatever, and then while you left their job, they decide to go from Fidelity to Charles Schwab. They gonna move your money without telling you. I mean, they gonna send you something in the mail, but you ain't gonna read it. You go, I ain't got no banks at Charles Schwab. So they gonna move your money without you telling you. You go look at your account a year later. You're like, where all my money go? I've had this when I was doing financial advising. At least happened 5 times. So, but the good news is there is a website called there's a registry, National Registry of Unclaimed Retirement Benefits. If you just Google that, they have a database where you can put your information in and find it. But just don't lose it in the first place. How about that?
Yeah, you know what else it reminds you of? The power of automation. The reason why you forgot about it is because you forgot that you even contributed.
Right? But no, you didn't even know. That's crazy to me. Listen, if y'all are listening to this right now, look at your pay stub. Like look at your pay stub. And if you don't know what it is, Google it. Because people, you're contributing. Some people are even contributing to a Roth. Like you're not just contributing to your traditional 401k, but you're also contributing to a Roth, and you don't even know it because you don't even know how to read your pay stub. You just look at what's the net. Okay.
They go to that bottom. What that bottom say? Okay. That's how much I got to pay.
And if it ain't as big as you want it to be, then start doing some digging. Like, man, who is fighting? Why what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I don't know nobody named FICA. I ain't even get my mama that much money. No, I'm just kidding. Mike, I love you. I retired you last year, so. But yeah, so it's very important. So we wanted to highlight that, right? We want to highlight how you can leverage, because that'll wake it. Now here, full disclaimer, right? For all the people that are going to try to clip this up and say, I thought they were financial people. I knew what they were talking about. They're telling people to liquidate their 401k. No, we're not saying that. What we're saying is, there are alternative, advantageous ways you can leverage your 401k or retirement dollars beyond just having 100% of it be tucked away for the next 30, 40 years. Because remember, everybody that is a part of our ecosystem has the desire to achieve financial independence faster than traditional retirement age, right? So being able to supercharge your wealth building, right, and be creative with how you're leveraging those funds can be advantageous for you, right? There's a lot of ways to do it, but we're going to talk about 3 main examples today. All right. The first one is a self-directed IRA, right? For those who don't know what IRA stands for, it's individual retirement accounts. Now we can use context clues. Individual retirement account, i.e. for me, and it's self-directed, means I get to do what I want with it, right? It's your prerogative.
You tell me that I don't have to put the money in my 401k in the stock market?
No, you do. In your 401k, you do. So in your 401k, you can only invest in the options that your provider provides. Right.
Wow. So, and I know this, guys. I'm just talking. I'm acting like the public.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you're doing a great job. You're doing
okay.
Because you convinced me for a second. I was like, wait.
You're like, bro, we just talked about the title of the episode. But like, no,
he's testing us.
When I mentioned for self-directed, they're like, wait, so you mean to tell me I don't only have to invest in stocks? And the answer is no. The only reason that you have to invest in stocks through your job's 401k is because your job has a partnership with the brokerage company, and that brokerage company says, since we only make money off buying stocks and selling stocks, you only get buy what we have to offer.
Or these high fee mutual funds or target date funds or whatever the case may be. Right.
Well, yeah, because they also have a certain level of responsibility for it. Y'all remember the ERISA Act? I just don't want y'all running around being mad, like, oh, our job trying to keep us down. Like, nah, they part of it is they have to have some compliance and standards. So
401k compliance standards. Actually, that's why I don't do 401k plans. They're like
God's advocate.
Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, so
Carter's like. He's don't sit here and make me not the expert the whole episode. We'll all take a shot.
Yeah, no, that was good. This is good.
What's going on, guys? My name is George Acheampong.
I'm Jacqueline Shattuck.
And I'm Carter Cofield.
And we are the founders of Melanin Money. And the reason why we started Melanin Money is because we know that there's a great disparity when it comes to building wealth among people of color. We have a tremendous mission that we want you guys to join. Right? Every single year, we want to help at least 1,000 people improve their net worth by $100,000, which will create $100 million of new Black wealth every single year.
Can you imagine $100 million of new Black wealth every year? As it stands right now, for every $1 that a white family has, a Black family has a mere 10 cents to match that dollar. We want to increase the wealth in the Black community so that we can have equal opportunities.
Simply put, we're about closing the wealth gap, and it starts with you.
So see you inside.
So to Carter's voice of the people point, yes, the self-directed IRA allows you to take funds that were previously in maybe a traditional 401k from a previous employer, and then you can move those funds into the self-directed IRA, right? Because it's a retirement account, when you move the funds over, it's not a taxable event, right? It's called a rollover, right? That would be the same if you rolled it over to a regular IRA or whatever the case may be. The difference in this scenario is that instead of just buying, now, if it was a regular IRA, you could buy whatever stocks you want, right? Whatever that institution has available. But the self-directed means you could do that, but more typically with the self-directed, you're going to be able to buy other asset classes. So let's say you like, man, I want to get into real estate, but I ain't got no money to get into real estate. Well, guess what? Now you do, right? You can leverage those funds. Buy real estate. So if you're like, if you've been wanting to get into real estate and just need a little bit of startup capital and you got an old 401k laying around that you want to leverage, you can leverage it. Now, again, this is not financial advice.
But let's be
I was gonna say, this is not financial advice, right? You want to make sure, that this makes sense for you. Matter of fact, we need to start reading the disclaimer before every episode. I want people saying, George
it's at the bottom.
And Carter.
It's at the bottom.
It is, right? They told me to do the doggone thing. No. This is an educational platform, okay?
We gave y'all the options.
We're bringing awareness, right? You got to take the action. We're just giving the awareness, okay?
But like, let's make sure we make the clear delineation between 401k and IRA, okay? Because I want to make sure y'all are following, because from my understanding of doing this for almost a decade, most of y'all don't even know what the 401k is, okay? So I just want to make sure we're really clear about the 401k, right? There's not a whole lot that you can do with your 401k, okay? Again, because you guys don't have the option to make your own investments in that account. But in the IRA, you can. And 99% of you who open up an IRA, it's already going to be titled self-directed. You don't have to do anything extra. You don't have to do anything special. Same thing with your Roth.
Okay, so the good news for business owners is, and I won't drop the company's name because they're not paying us for endorsement.
We sent them this clip though, something they missed out on, maybe next time.
Okay. So it's a company called Rocket Dollar, and they allow business owners to set up self-directed 401ks. So they're able to just have the same advantages of self-directed accounts, but they can just do it within their 401k as well as their IRAs. And here's why we're telling you this, guys, because with a self-directed account, you can invest in stocks, or you can invest in real estate, or you can invest in companies. Like you can buy business like that. The way that Peter Thiel turned I think it was a $5,000 Roth IRA into $5.1 billion. $5.1 billion, if I'm not mistaken.
Would it be
untaxed money? Is because he used his self-directed IRA to buy shares of PayPal, or self-directed Roth IRA to buy shares of PayPal, and it exploded. But this is
vote activity.
Yeah, this is like the intricacies of financial literacy that most people don't know. Like if you're, so dope about self-directed accounts is if you're knowledgeable in something, like we just had Bees on a podcast. If Bees is knowledgeable about purchasing and selling businesses. So why wouldn't you invest your money in what you know most? Don't let these companies make you invest in things that you don't know when you can literally invest in things that you do know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And to be clear on what he's saying, this episode in particular is really more for somebody who is a more advanced investor, in a sense of that you've already been investing into like your 401k, right? Because we're giving you options that you can do with your 401k. So point being, you got to have some money in there already for this to take hold. Otherwise, we've talked about a ton of strategies on the podcast that you could do without having money in your 401k already. What'd you say? I missed it.
No, just say you have some shekels, some scratch. You know what I'm saying?
Scratch. That's the word 2022.
What? A couple of coins, a couple little coins. Yeah. Okay, so it's interesting right now. As it stands, you can put $22,500 into your 401k.
Somebody been putting in some reps. You know what I'm saying? Right. 2023.
Yeah, so that's a good number.
The tax guys can't have all the fun.
But if you're over 50, you can put an extra $7,500 in there. Okay, so
if you're over 50, drop some in the comments on YouTube, right? If you're over 50, listening to these young guns on here, drop something in the. I got something for you. You know what I'm saying?
Leave us that 5-star review. I mean, just leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Season review. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't know what's coming from
the nice and long letter of.
If you over 50,
y'all are nuts, Carter. Y'all are crazy. Like when I was in y'all's class and somehow the camera went to the older lady, and y'all saw whose grandma is this? Y'all are out of control.
Listen,
somebody get a moderator in here because these
that sounds real out of pocket. But listen, if you are in the 50 and up crowd, just put some little salt and pepper shaker emojis.
Oh, there you go.
Comments for us. You know,
there you go.
Yeah, that way we know where our seasoned investors
are. We love all y'all.
But I'll be honest, like, I do talk to people often that are over the age of 50, and I love y'all. Like, I don't think it matters what your age is, because we just didn't have access to this. So of course you're like, oh, the younger ones are so much smarter. Yeah, YouTube didn't exist when you were our age. We're sorry. Right. We love you. We're here to support you. Okay. So $22,500 is what you can put into your 401k, whether that's self-directed or through your job or a SEP IRA. That's what you can put in there. So if you already have some monies in there and you're eligible to do a rollover, so let's be clear, if you are employed currently at your job where your 401k is, you probably can't do a rollover. Okay. Right. We're not going to get too complicated with that, but you probably can't. Okay. Because like George said, you are in service. You're currently working there, but you may have an old 401k, or you may be about to leave your job in which you can take advantage of these rollover opportunities.
Right. So to that point, I'm sorry, let me cut you off. So we're the action podcast. So real quick, I want to give an action. If you believe that there's a small possibility that you have a 401k from a prior employer, we want you to go find that money. Who's got my money? I want you to ask, who's got my money? Okay. Because we're going to give you some strategies on what you can do with that bread. All right. My bad, Jack. Go ahead.
And that's good.
The website is www.unclaimed.retirement.benefits.
If you got over 100, you can email Capital Wise. Might better help you out. But less than that, go ahead and go.
This is www.unclaimed.retirementbenefits.com. Once you find it, then reach out to Capital Wise. They can take care of you.
Right.
Hey, y'all. I feel like I'm just as hyped for this episode as I was for the wealthy dating money episode.
Yeah. I mean, because I feel like here's the quote I heard one time: in a world full of junk food content, be some soul food. You know what I'm saying? Like, we giving y'all a little bit of soul food right now.
Yeah,
because we know y'all get the clickbait. We get y'all get the content that sounds good, but it ain't no context, right? We're gonna give y'all some strategy, some salt. However, all that being said, this is still not financial advice, right? You need to do your due diligence. Make sure you understand the parameters and provisions around these moves, right? Because with the self-directed IRA, in particular, if you get a real estate property that's producing a bunch of profit, I'm happy for you, but that money has to go back in to the account, right? You can't start tripping off. because you got a cash flow real estate property. Now you got to understand it's part of the provisions. Now, what that might mean is you're expediting your journey towards becoming financially independent, but that money still has to go back into the account. Otherwise, it will be a taxable event. And we don't have the time to get in this episode on how we can maybe the loophole and finesse that, right? That's not what this is for. Okay.
What's going on, guys? I'm George.
I'm Jacqueline.
And I'm Carter.
And we are your money mentors. But today we wanted to talk to you about a really special feature, Financial Flicks. Can you imagine an entire on-demand library of financial content across 3 main categories: wealth building, entrepreneurship, and personal finance, so that you can take your finances to the next level?
Guys, when you replace entertainment with education, your life will change forever. Imagine replacing 1 hour of Netflix with 1 hour of Financial Flicks. Imagine how much further that could take you to your financial destination. And we have the perfect library for you.
Yeah, so if you're ready to Financial Flicks and chill with us to put more of your energy into education, then join us in the club. We can't wait to see you there.
See you there.
Not for the loopholes, but for the baseline. Okay, so baseline, we talked about the 401k, the 22,005 you can put in there. Cool. Okay, so we got the 401k, but Carter also brought up the Roth when he was talking about Peter Thiel and how he was able to, grow that money exponentially. So I think that it's only right that we talk about the Roth a little bit, because I think that the way that you skipped over it, Carter, I think, can you go back and explain it again so they can understand the Roth and the magnitude there of what's so sexy about that?
Yeah, I mean, so with the Roth, you don't pay taxes. You pay taxes when the money goes in. So you receive the money from your employer. The money's already been taxed, so you don't get a tax break. But when you put the money in there, the money grows tax free forever. And people always ask, should I do traditional? Should I do Roth? I tell them, I would rather fight the tax. I would rather fight the tax battle now than the tax battle I don't know what's going to be in the future.
Right.
Like I would rather fight the enemy I do know than the enemy I don't know. So with the Roth, right, it's never going to be taxed in the future. So it don't matter if 2050, if tax rates go to 80%, you don't have to worry about that. So the Roth allows you to not have to pay taxes on the gain. So and just so you all know, if you have a old 401k at a previous employer, you can also roll that 401k into a IRA. It doesn't have to go 401k to 401k. It can go 401k to IRA. It all depends on how you want to do it.
Yeah, because sometimes your employer will try to make you think that you get a new job, you can just roll it on up. Of course they want you to.
I don't want y'all playing. I'm gonna roll this. I'm gonna roll my 401k. Here's what I'm gonna do. Here, if y'all want tactical items, if you want to run this play, here's what you do. So if you go to a new employer and you find out your old employer, let's say you have $50,000 in old 401k money, and you want to open up a self-directed IRA because you want to buy real estate. You can open up the self-directed IRA first, then you call the self-directed IRA company and tell them to go get your money. Right? When it comes to moving your money, you don't go to the party that has the money. You go to the party that wants the money, and they will hit up your ex, the person that has the money, to get your money for you. Right? So that's just an easy hack on how to move your money without you having to do any actual work.
Big facts. When you said that, it made me realize that some people, I think Jacqueline might have touched on this already, but some people don't realize that because most of their money was in a 401k and it just, had target date funds, they never really looked into the target date fund. It's just like, okay, it's what my employer offered. If you have ever said that you want to invest in the stock market, or you're not invested in the stock market, or you want to buy individual shares of Apple, or whatever the case may be, right? When you roll that money out of the previous 401k where you had limited options from like Fidelity or Vanguard or whoever it was, if you do have a desire to buy some individual shares, or you have done your research and some stocks you want to buy, because it's now an individual retirement account, in that retirement account, you can buy other stocks as well. But and I know that seems so simple to us, but most people don't realize that. Most people will have a 401k,
that's a good point,
and they will say, I'm not investing in the stock market, which is why Jacqueline said several episodes
blows
ago,
my mind.
Everybody should say, what did you say, Jacqueline? Everybody should have
stock investor written in their bio.
Right.
Literally everybody should, because you literally cannot always work for your money.
Yeah. That's fine.
It's like even your blue collar forklift, like they have access to a 401k most of the time and should be investing in the stock market.
They probably just don't know it. Like they don't know it. A lot of people don't know that 401k means that you're investing in the stock market. But that's why we have the Melanin Money Show.
Right. They think it's, I got a pension, or I don't know, or I see 3% being taken out I don't know what it's for. I thought it was an extra tax. I just roll with it. Who knows? But hey, listen, we're here to rescue your retirement, right? And that's what we're here for. And now let's move on to the next one. We know we kind of went off on a few tangents, but because we wanted to give context and make sure that we can unpack that and you guys could truly understand. But to summarize bullet point number 1, if you leave your job, you don't have to move the money over to another 401k. You have options. One of those options is putting it into a self-directed IRA that allows you to buy things other than stocks, right? You can buy real estate, you can buy businesses, you can buy, well, I don't think nobody wants to buy crypto right now, but maybe they do.
Maybe, yeah, it's the perfect time. Should we talk about I'm sorry, I didn't know where you were going with this.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Were you going to buy real estate in your self-directed IRA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. You can chime in.
Okay, so on the real estate tip, I think maybe like 1 or 2% of my clients over my almost a decade have ever bought real estate inside of their IRA. And Carter knows the big reason why, because most people buy, well, we talked about this before. The tax code is written for business owners and real estate owners. And when you buy real estate, one of the sexy things about buying it is what?
Depreciation. Right.
Being able to write off all of the expenses. Well, guess what? When you buy that real estate inside of your self-directed IRA, you can no longer depreciate and you can no longer take deductions. Why? Because you're already getting tax advantages of it being in an IRA. So you got to pick your battle here, right? Like trying to figure out if this is for you. Do you want to take the depreciation and the deductions? Or do you want to buy it in your IRA? Pick and choose one. Now, the answer may get chosen for you depending on how you invest in real estate, because if you are a person who's like, okay, let me buy this house so that I can help my family, then you automatically can't buy that house inside of your self-directed IRA.
Correct.
Because per tax code, you're not allowed to have personal use of that home. You literally have to be an investor and you have to allow like you have to be using that to build the economy, right? So you have to be providing housing for somebody that you don't know. So maybe you were planning to take depreciation deductions on it, or maybe you're planning it for personal use. So that already cancels you out of using your self-directed IRA. Or maybe you never saved into your 401k. You don't really have any money in there anyways. So this isn't even a conversation for you. But
100%.
But
and that was kind of my thought process, right? This for the person who like didn't know if they had money to get in real estate, wanted to get in real estate, and realized they had no 401k, and it's like, hey, now I have a way to get in, but you can't, you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? You gotta pick a side, right? You got cash in the bank account and you want to go buy real estate, or you got access to capital or whatever, cool. Leverage that, get those deductions on that side, or leverage the IRA, and then naturally you're gonna be able to use that capital for assets, but you're not gonna get the same tax advantages as you would if it was cash that you just had on the sideline. So that's why you guys got to do your own due diligence and make sure that you understand what makes the most sense for your situation.
Yes, and comment, follow if you're following along with us, because we are pretty technical here. So
yeah, I know we're getting into the weeds, right? But that's why you can join the Melanin Millionaires Club, right? We'll do a class on this. We'll go even deeper on these different strategies. Now, moving on to strategy number 2, right? Strategy number 2 is the solo 401k, and this is for my business owners, right? This is for my business owners. Okay. Now, as Carter mentioned, if you leave your previous job, you don't have to move money from 401k to 401k. You can move from 401k to IRA. But if you are creating the job, i.e. you're an entrepreneur, then guess what? You could roll that money into either one of 401k that you started, right? Or you could roll it to a solo 401k depending upon the structure of the entity. Keyword solo, right? It has to be set up the right way. We're not going to, maybe Carter might touch on it a little bit, but we're not going to go into the weeds here. But the more of the story is, if you establish a solo 401k, a solo 401k has a clause where you do have the ability to borrow, right, from the solo 401k, right? Carter, you want to chime in? I know you really broke this down on the podcast not too long ago. So you want to chime in on this a little bit?
Yeah. So it's fairly simple. If you have a 401k somewhere else and you decide to start a business, you can open up a solo 401k or called an individual 401k for free. for free. This is absolutely free. You don't have to pay to have this. There's no monthly fee. This account is free, right? It don't get better than that. And you can roll your money over from your old 401k to your newly established solo 401k. The dope thing about owning this solo 401k is that, as George mentioned, there's a clause where you can borrow against it. And as you all know, the IRS does not consider loans to be taxable. So think about this for a second. If you're a business owner and you need capital to start your business, right? And let's say for whatever reason, you can't get any business funding because your personal credit's messed up, you don't have any business credit. Here's what you can do. You can become your own bank and use your 401k money to start your business. So you can roll over your old 401k to your newly established individual 401k. You can borrow up to $50,000 or 50% of the portfolio, whatever's less. So if you have $100,000, I want to use that example. If you have an $80,000 portfolio, you could borrow 50% of that, which is $40,000. If you have a $200,000 portfolio, you can borrow $50,000 because it's whatever's less between those two numbers. So now you got this $50,000 loan that you now borrow from yourself, and now you're able to use this money to start your business, for operations, for marketing, for hiring. And the beauty part about this is as you pay the loan back, guess who you're paying interest back to? Yourself. So not only are you becoming your own bank and using your money to fund your newly established business, even when you pay back the money, you're paying the money back, you're paying interest back to yourself.
Who's giving out this kind of sauce on YouTube for free?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
It is actually one of the things I teach my students. I'm like, yo, this is free game. Y'all get some free games right here. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So guys, we're trying to get y'all some games so y'all can rescue those retirement funds.
What's up, guys? Congratulations on joining Team Black Wealth. But we'd be remiss if we didn't give you a uniform as an official player on the team. So head over to shop.melaninmoney.com and grab your official uniform for Wealth Builders of Color. We'll see y'all at practice.
Jacqueline, anything you want to chime in specific? I know we gave a lot of context around the account types and Roth and traditional, so I think we've been able to lay the framework pretty well so that hopefully they're following. But anything specifically you want to chime in on as it relates to the solo 401k?
So did you touch on the fact that as you're a solo provider, you can actually put more than the $22,500?
I did not. Yeah. So because you're both the business owner and the business, because you're both the employee and the employer of the plan, you get to, instead of only putting away $22,500, you get to put up to, I believe this year is 60.
I think it's close. Yeah.
63, 66. Okay. 66,000. Yeah. So you can put up to $66,000 as, into your 401k per year. Think about that. If you do that for 10 years, you've invested $660,000. That's how much you've invested, not to mention how much is grown. So you literally can retire in 10 years by simply starting your own business, making enough money to fund your solo 401k, and then letting it ride. And
you said it real low, making enough money.
Making enough money to be able to fund your solo 401k, but yeah.
So guys, real quick sidebar, real quick, promise you. So that's the one thing I want to really shine in 2023, right? 2020 until now, education has been at an all-time high, and I'm actually here for it. I am over the hills and through the moon, as they say, right? What I think has been missing a little bit in the excitement of the education is the context and the nuance, right? And all the strategies, we're not here to gatekeep strategies, right? We're here to give you as much game as possible. As I said in the last episode, sauce not sold separately, right? We want to give it to you. Not the stingy, the fast food spots that charge you extra 25 cents every time you want some sauce, right? However, we do want to make sure that you guys understand, right? You fully understand the concept that govern these specifics, right? Obviously, you're gonna have to do your own due diligence because it isn't the first most important thing you need to be thinking about, right? If you hear this and you hear 66,000 and you're like, well, how am I do that? Because I ain't make 66. Then you need to focus on the right things, right? These strategies are opportunities to build wealth. They're opportunities to decrease your tax liabilities. But the number one thing in business is to be profitable, right? That's the number one thing. I think I heard this quote one time and it said, a bunch of dudes sitting in the room not making no money, that's a nonprofit. You know what I'm saying? Like you're supposed to be getting some money.
I remember that. That was hilarious. Where did we hear that?
I can't remember, but that's hilarious. I think it might have been like a meme or something. Matter of fact, shout out to my guy. What's his name? He got all the quotes, the black background, white words. When you know it's him when you see it. I think he might have been the one that posted it.
Justin LeBoy?
Huh?
Justin LeBoy or somebody?
Nah. He's one of the founders of Rockefeller. He's the hashtag 3D9. You know what I'm talking about? But anyways, more story is I think it was him. Shout out to him. Yeah. But yeah, a bunch of dudes, sitting around a room, not getting no money. That's a nonprofit, right? Like you gotta if you want to help, right? If you want to give money away to charity. But if you got a business, you gotta make money. You gotta be profitable.
You have to make money. And I think this has been hard because you have a lot of people who we all put out a lot of great content on the internet, right? And people will come to you and they'll say what about this or what about it? And I'm like, hey, are you maxing out your 401k at work? If you're not maxing out your 401k, it's not a whole lot we can talk about, because this is the thing about financial chaos, right? Financial chaos, if you feel like everything is just, you got all these options and opportunities, that means that you have diversity, right? And if you have diversity, that means that you have options. And that's really great. But if you're not even at the point where you can save to invest $22,000 a year, it's going to be hard for us to have these next level conversations with you. Right. But I think it's really good for you to know what's available for you. So let's say that you do get to the point where you're making $250 and you're like, okay, I've got a tax problem that I really need to figure out what to do here. $66,000 can go into your solo 401k. Right. That's going to help a lot.
The good news is those are the problems you want to have when it's year end and you're reaching for the card to pay for everybody's dinner, or you got to figure out what asset I'm going to buy, or, I got to start a donor advised fund. Those are good. Those are the problems you want to have. Okay. So now let's focus on the first problem, or the first thing. The first thing is, let me go out here and make some money, right? Let me go out here and make the money. And then when I make it, then I can worry about it. Because what happens with people is they get analysis paralysis. They get lost in the details, and you just got to focus on what matters first. And what matters first is get to this bag, right? And while you're getting to the bag, simultaneously learn about this stuff by listening to the Melanin Money Show, right? Joining the Melanin Millionaires Club, so that when it's time to deploy the strategies, you're not scrambling. I already know. I know exactly what play I'm running as soon as it's time to run the play, right? So we just here to give y'all a little tough love, but a little honesty, so that you don't get lost in all the possibilities of what you could do. You're not focused on the one thing you need to do, and that's make sales. As Grant Cardone says, sales cures all, right? Almost everything but mental health. For everything else, sales, for the most part, will help you out. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So let's move into the third strategy. Okay? The third strategy, I can almost bet that most people haven't heard of specifically, right? We're not going to get into the weeds of it because there's a lot of weeds, right, to get into, but we will give you the concept, and you can dig deeper, or you can join the Melanin Millionaires Club. And I promise you, I'll do a class on this very, very soon. Okay. Now, one thing that you commonly hear is it's like the good hero's journey. I was an entrepreneur and I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I cashed out my 401k to start my business. And, the rest is history. For some of those, it worked out well. For some people, not so much. Right. Now, if you did that and it worked out, I'm happy for you. I'm all here for risk. You know what I'm saying? Calculated risk. But if you knew another way, you might do something different, right? And that's when we learned about, now granted, technically we just talked about the solo 401k, right? That could have been something that you leveraged. But this one's a little bit different, okay? This one is called Rollover for Business Startups, right? Acronym ROBS. And what this strategy allows you to do, if you set up your company as a C corporation and you establish a special type of 401k that can only be used for this strategy, you can roll over those retirement funds from a previous employer or wherever they may be, even an IRA, right? Whatever the case may be. You can roll those monies over into this particular plan that your C Corp is sponsoring, okay? Now, what happens is, because of this, the way the entity is set up, you can now leverage those funds as business working capital. Now, there's some details behind this, okay? but we're not going to, it's very in the weeds. So we're not going to get into it. We're just going to get into the concepts. Okay. You can leverage the funds from that 401k, right, to fund your business. Now, the catch with this is it can't be passive, right? This has to be a business that you're actually running. Whereas the self-directed IRA, you can invest in assets, right, that are just appreciating, doesn't matter. This has to be a business that you are actively running, okay? Because that's how you get the benefit for this structure. Jacqueline has her hand raised, so she has something she wants to add to this.
No. Question.
Okay.
Is it leverage or is it using the funds?
Literally using the funds. I'm using the term, so great points. I don't want to misconstrue the point. Literally get to use the funds, right, for business capital, and you get to avoid any taxation, and you get to avoid any pre-retirement withdrawal penalties. Now, again, full disclaimer, what we're sharing on this episode, there's two things you got to factor in. Number one, based upon what the business I'm trying to start or what I'm trying to do, will this make sense for me? That's some additional due diligence you have to make. Number two, am I in a position to keep up with the logistics and documentation required to use this strategy? Because a C corporation is the most cumbersome entity to create. Now, you might be at a place in business where it makes sense and you need that, right? But if you're leveraging it specifically for this purpose, don't say I got $5,000 in a 401k and I'm gonna start a C corp. No, I would strongly, immediately no. Okay, immediately no.
That boy adamant. He said, no.
I'm going to advise you against that, right? No, excuse me. I'm going to educate you against that, right? If I were you, I wouldn't do it. I'll say that. Okay, so you got to understand the differences, which is why we gave you 3, right? You can have your pick of the litter. Now you can go down the rabbit hole of like, okay, I didn't know that. First and foremost, let me go get this 401k money. Yeah. First things, what do I have now that I know I can do something with it? The possibilities are endless. Now, and I'll be remiss if I said the other option, fourth option, is you can just actually go and get it and put eyeballs on it and move it into an account that you have visibility to, an individual account, and now start contributing to it outside of your job, right? You can just do that, right? You might not be an entrepreneur, you might not have the desire to do anything fancy, but at least put eyeballs on where your money is. Keep your eyes on the ball, as they say. Pause. Right. And know where I had to do it. And know where your money is, right? That you could just do that. But we wanted to make sure that we gave you options, right? Okay. So that you knew that you didn't have to just let your old 401k dollars stay at the old employer. You left there for a reason. Why you leave your money there? Mm-hmm. You ain't like your old boss. You ain't like the coworker who was trying to talk your head off at the water cooler, and you gonna leave your money there. Yeah. Right? So we want to let you know that you could do something more with it. Whatever you decide to do with it is up to you, based upon your due diligence and deeper understanding of the concepts we've shared today.
Okay. Now, that was a lot. That was a lot to take in, but there is something that I do want to highlight out of what you said. I'm gonna
leave that one alone. That was an easy.
Go up. I saw. I know. It was like, bro. I saw it.
I'm gonna leave that one alone. I'm being childish today. I'm just having fun. We have fun on the Melanin Money Show.
I missed it.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
You really have to repeat it.
You were talking about something that mattered. That's why you were talking about
something that matters. Yeah, don't mind me. I'm being childish today.
I was trying to have a solid transition, guys. Like, give me, let me. My transition is to tweet them and weep. Okay, so if y'all not on Carter's Twitter feed, hop up on there. Okay, because Carter tweeted, people are anxious to improve their circumstances, but unwilling to improve themselves. And I feel like that goes hand in hand with a lot about what we're saying here, because a lot of times it's not necessarily about the strategies. Like some people like don't even need the strategies. Like you just need to do the work to get to the point where we can even put up $66,000 a year. But Carter, you tweeted that. So what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that tweet for me is simple. One of my favorite quotes is, the most frustrating thing that we can do as human beings is to try to make an above average income without first becoming an above average person. Ooh. So when it comes to that quote, like, everybody like, I want to make 100K. I want to make $1 million. Oh, bro, I want that lamb. No, I want that. Like they want all those things, right? But we're unwilling to become the person that can achieve those, right? Like if you want to spend money without looking at the bill, you have to work without looking at the clock. So I'm just trying to really just show people like we can have whatever we want, but like, you better put that work in.
I like that. I've been telling people like reality is negotiable. Like everything in your reality is negotiable. Like if you want to have, like you're saying, the fancy things, that is possible. It's very possible. And we have told you guys a million ways to do it. I think on the show, what are we almost 100 episodes
76, 77, something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Like it's sauce on every episode. So it's crazy. Reality is negotiable. How they
like just look like this, like with the when they come out on top. That's the podcast.
Oh my gosh, clip that one up, Don.
Now we understand when George gets hungry, like that means he gets goofy, so he needs to
hilarious, goofy. Yes. And her match coming in with some bags. I feel like there's some food in there. I'm like,
yeah. So let me do this. Let me give a summary of today's episode. So the first thing is, if you go check and see if you have money left behind. We gave you the website URL earlier so that you can see if you have money left behind. And then if you do have money left behind, we gave you 3 strategies on what to do with it, right? First strategy, you can roll that money into a self-directed IRA or self-directed 401k, depending on what you want. And you can invest that money in assets that you understand, whether that's real estate, whether that's crypto, whether that's businesses, whatever. You get to take that money and now invest it in things that you understand. Or you can start a business, open up a solo 401k, roll that money over, borrow 50% of it, then use that money to jumpstart your business. Or if you have a lot of money and you have a big business that you're trying to start, well, if you have just a business that you're trying to start, you can actually set up a C Corp, roll all of that money in there and use every dollar of that money to start your business. However, there are a lot of weeds and there's a lot of weeds in all 3 of these, so we actually do your due diligence, but that's a summary. So go get that money, use it today. Just because it's called a retirement account doesn't mean you can't use it before you retire. Was that good?
Right, because one thing I wanted to share about that is that, and I didn't mention it because I didn't want to go too deep, is that the company is gifting shares, right? I.e. the value of the company relative to what that's how the transfer is happening. Right. So in the ropes, it's like the company is saying, okay, here are these shares at this nominal value. Right. And then it's an exchange for the money that the 401k is then giving the business to use as business capital. So now the 401k has the shares. So if you sell the business, that value does have to go back in the 401k. Right. But you were able to use the money, the startup capital, the profits to pay payroll. Like you can use that like a regular business. It's just that if you sell the business, you have to then go back to, okay, well, relative to the shares that the 401k owns, how much of that has to go back into the 401k, right? So just one of the many things. But guys, this was fun. This was great. I mean,
this was fun. I think the only other thing to add is the episode we did before this was the episode on buying established businesses, and you don't have to start from scratch. So you can do that rollover and use it to buy a business as opposed to starting from scratch.
Big facts. So holla at our guy Bees. If you listen to that episode, make sure you listen/watch that one. The links are in the show notes of that episode. Watch it on. He had great energy, so I really recommend, for those of y'all who haven't migrated over to YouTube, watch the YouTube. If you're a Spotify or Apple Podcast loyalist, we understand the audio should be crispy there. Make sure you leave a 5-star review, right? We're giving this to y'all just off the strength, off the cuss, because we love y'all. We see that y'all engage with the content. 5-star review, share it with somebody that you think can benefit from the episode. And if you're really feeling spicy, tag us on social media, post it in your stories, and we'll pick a winner at random. All you have to do is tag us, and we'll have our social media manager be on the lookout and tell her just pick somebody at random. You can win something from us. All right, guys, anything else?
I think that is good.
Hey, we love y'all. We want the best for y'all.
Absolutely.
And we can't wait to see you in the Melanin Millionaires Club.
Let's go.
Peace. I'm going to go eat, so I'm going to holler at y'all.